Most of you are unaware that Malawi, Zimbabwe, and Zambia used to be one country at some point in time. So I also wish to recognize all the delegations that are here from different countries for being present and also for participating even before this summit with the work that allowed us to meet today, because we know that a lot of work has gone behind the scenes to prepare for today, and some have been working on this, President Kagame and his team, for years, 10 years now, I understand. So thank you very much to all of you. This is a very important summit. Transforming Africa into a single digital market is extremely important, and I'm reminded that we must set our sights high in terms of our ambitions towards digital development on our continent. But I dare say that we must set our ambitions high on everything that we do as Africans, because we are lagging behind. So digital market development is one, and it's a very important one, but we must also raise our ambitions on the economic social development front, because it's for this reason that the digital agenda to make Africa a single digital market becomes relevant, because it is a road, it is a platform, it is basically our daily bread upon which we must achieve accelerated economic and social development so we can create jobs for our youth. 60% of our population, 1.2 billion or more, relatively young, under 30 years old. And that's a very, very big challenge. As my colleagues have already said it, without leapfrogging what we do, without big ambitions in what we do, it will be very difficult to take care of this young population. So this summit, like those before it, continues to be extremely important to taking care of the largest portion of our population. So, as we say in Africa, when we take care of the young, they will take care of us when we grow old. That's part of Africa's insurance arrangements. Some would like to call it the black tax. I actually love the black tax. If we use it properly, it will sustain ourselves as a community, given our cultural backgrounds, our values, the way we have lived from time immemorial. So I would like to focus on just one or two things myself, is to say, can we and should we accept that we cannot avoid digitization in our households, in our businesses, in our economies, in our communities. So it is therefore something we must take as a given. But by taking it as a given doesn't mean we must pay lip service to it. We must invest even a lot more into it, because the value that will derive from it is immense. It's not even a debatable matter that if we want to grow production, which is what we should in many areas on our continents, so we can push through a step change in our economies, rather than gradual, but a step change, we need technology. We need digital platforms, goods and services production, agriculture. Let me single out agriculture. We have right now been exposed as a continent with regards to production of grain, production of proteins for our daily needs. The war in Ukraine and Russia-Ukraine war has exposed us dramatically. To respond to that, to increase food production, we need to be able to, if you like, apply technology. And digitization is a must. During the walkover outside there, we're looking at drones. Good news that some of these are manufactured in our countries on the continent. Application usage of those drones. Pesticide control, if you like, I believe genetics as well, very important, so we can increase production of food. You look at the processing of this food to add value, equally important. Digital platforms are very important. So I'm talking about production, processing, but we produce, we process for what? To trade, to consume in our markets, but also in the neighboring markets. The trading platforms that will allow us to take food from surplus areas to deficit areas has to be digital. It cannot be the old ways of communicating to each other. It has to be the modern ways. We also need to share market information. Supply, yes. Where it's demanded, yes. But also the prices. What's the cost of this food? And then we can move the food to where it's needed efficiently without double handling. Let me move away from there very briefly. We need to also use digitization as a platform in our movements of goods and services. Border posts, border areas. A country like ours with 8+1 neighbors cannot afford to have inefficiencies in our logistics sector. Border areas. We pride ourselves, and not long ago, President Chakwera and I were opening a border post called Mwami between Malawi and Zambia. And we were proud to listen to speeches talking about one-stop border shop. And in my speech, I want to repeat what I said. We should not be proud of having a one-stop border shop, border stop. We should be actually ambitious enough to say we should have a non-stop border post. Non-stop border posts. Is this possible? Very possible. If we have a platform, a digital platform, and I was in Mozambique in Beira port not long ago, I think just 2 weeks ago. At that border, goods are packed for Malawi, for Zimbabwe, and for Zambia. But once we are able to share that window when goods are being packed in Beira, in Mozambique, and all our immigration, customs, revenue authorities have that window, that single platform window, which is only possible through digital arrangements, technology, then we don't have to stop a truck at the Malawi-Mozambique border. A truck meant for Zambia should not stop at the border post in Malawi and in Zimbabwe. It should come through into Chirundu, into Chanida, into Mwami. And if it's destined for us, the only time we stop it, other than the driver answering the call of nature, should be the destination in Zambia. But technology will allow us to do that. So with it comes time savings, with it comes cost savings. So this forum, President Mnangagwa, President Kagame, is so vitally important. It's a basic minimum. Let me move away from there. Very briefly, we are talking of the Africa Free Trade Area. We are talking about the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. How can we consummate that without digital platforms? More importantly, without digital platforms that are talking to each other. I'm talking of the infrastructure. Digital platforms that are not talking to each other because the laws are not harmonized. Is there an argument there? So there should be no argument. We must harmonize our laws. We must harmonize our platforms technically so they are talking to each other. No need to reinvent the wheel. If Rwanda has done that internally, I was chatting with my brother, President Kagame, as we were walking here. that the Rwanda government bus is largely, service bus, is largely digitized. Why should we reinvent a wheel and spend a lot more money on research and development when we can actually talk to our colleagues? We create those savings, we short-circuit the processes, we will be able to improve the efficiencies in government deliveries. One of the things that irritates me as a president, 1 year, 7 months in office in our country, is a bureaucracy in the public sector. The time it takes to get small things done. And I've come to realize that it's not just a bureaucracy. There's a hidden interest. The slower the process, the more expensive it is, the more corrupt it is. I'm sure you know where I'm going next. The less revenue that the Treasury collects, and also the higher tax in terms of rate businesses pay. Why? Because we have to build up, to bump up, to balloon the tax rates in order to raise a certain amount of money. When we digitize, we will lower the cost of transactions, time, money. But surprise, 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 surprise to the corporate world, we will also be able to lower your taxes. But, hear me out, strangely to some, but it's not strange, we will raise more treasury revenue at the same time because of these efficiencies. Because there will be no motivation to basically not pay a lower tax rate. So I'm sure I have drawn a connection. I would like other presidents to say other things. So thank you to the organizers. We're very happy to be here ourselves. And you businesses seated here, government ministers seated here, PSCs, can you network, talk to each other before this summit ends? Talk to each other. Use the lunchtime, 30 minutes, 5 minutes eating, 25 minutes networking. Thank you very much.
I'm a king, yes, I'm a king, I think I'm a king,